On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Yeah, Simon Says becomes Trump Says. We've got some funny stuff where the deep state is truly, truly freaking out. I've got a nice little segment demonstrating what they're trying to do to stop us and what's going to ultimately happen in the big picture. Now, the public in all these different countries, including ourselves, are on board with the big picture, are on board with Trump. In fact, Trump's even kind of, I would say to a degree, sort of freed up the world and world leaders to truly be happy to represent their people. I've got an example of that coming up. It'll make more sense in a second. I have a favor to ask you guys, and I'm going to be overt right now in my mission and purpose. I've generally kept a lot of this stuff to the behind the lines, if you will. Today I'm going to be a little overt. I don't know how many times I'll be able to get away with this, but today I think I will. There's two things I need you guys to do, especially 100% of you guys that are in my Law of One world, 100% of you guys that are in my manifesting world, like, you come from those videos, 100% of you guys, please do this. It matters most. I'm hoping a bunch of you guys that are not in any of those categories help. The first one that's most important, if you only do one thing and spend 30 seconds max, that's it. I mean, you can spend more. It'd be awesome. More is better, but 30 seconds max. I want you, please, to imagine when you show up to the polls. Imagine in your mind you showing up to the polls and you're standing in line. There's like two people maybe in front of you, right? You don't have to get too carried away. But the person that's in the front of the line, she's showing her ID to get let in to the polling place and to get her ballot, showing her ID. And the next person then goes up and you can hear them say, "Your ID, please." And they pull out their ID and show their ID. And then you step up in line. You're already ready. You've got your ID in your hand and you show it right up front. Imagine that. Imagine that, please. See that in your mind. See that on election day that you and others are presenting, and others is very important, presenting their IDs to vote. Please. Second, I would love it, and this is to help the bigger picture in the world right now. I would love if you've got 30 extra seconds. Imagine our friends across the pond, the Brits, right? The ones that you can't ever tell if they're actually angry. People that talk funny, basically. But they sound intelligent. That's why we always listen to them. But we always make them evil people, right? Like everybody on the Death Star was British. I don't know if you ever noticed that. They're all fucking killers, man. We hate them all. That said, I would like you to imagine the Brits, and seeing it on your TV is probably the easiest way to imagine this, that the Brits on the 4th of July of this year are in the streets celebrating their independence. And not only are they waving British flags, which they should be, and probably, hopefully, the original British flag, but don't get too carried away on them, but see their American flag represented as well. Because we're going to be free from the same group on the same day. Imagine that. This world's changing, folks. A lot is happening, and your guys' partaking in this is key. Today is a big ripple day. Votes are the most important thing. We need to make sure we're talking about them a lot. That the quality of the votes, the fakeness, all that stuff, this needs to be a huge focus. We must get our vote system fixed. We need to get as much noise on that across the board to the normies as possible. It's the only way we're going to fix this. We're going to do this, and we got this. We got this, guys. Now, we got some fun stuff here. Here is Hungary's Viktor Orban, right, and Milei from Argentina, hanging out. Now, this is, like I said, obviously Trump has freed both of these individuals. He's also helped both of them. We'll get to that in a second. I wanted to play this part first. But these are two guys that have freed their countries, and gosh, they're happy, aren't they? Dadgum, they're happy, one could say. I mean, Orban seems a little stiffer than the Mr. Argentina, Mr. Latino. Mr. Latinos there into, let's do some dancing, huh? You like bailar? Yeah, but Victor Orban's a little more Eastern European. It was like, no, we don't dance unless there's broken glasses or something involved. That's more Greek, but whatever the hell. I went too far. President Trump, talking about Milei and all the people he's helped. Not really supposed to promote world leaders, but right now, his promotion is what many of us are praying we get, right? We want to know. Trump, I don't know which one of these bastards to trust. Trump's helping us out.
But we're honored to be joined today by Prime Minister Rama of Albania. Where is President Milei? You're another one, I'll tell you. Where is President Milei? I endorsed him. I'm not supposed to be endorsing people, but when I like people, I've had a very good record of endorsing candidates within the United States. But now I endorse foreign leaders, including Viktor Orban, who's here, and others. And I endorse this gentleman, Milei. He was a little behind in the polls. He ended up winning in a landslide. I just endorsed the Prime Minister of Japan. She was in a tight race, but was probably going to win, and she won in the largest number in the history of Japan. So she likes me a lot. But it was an honor, and you're doing good. Oh, look, they're sitting right next, Victor. But ultimately, I think I'm going to end up endorsing. Hey, look, as long as it works, it's okay with me. But the endorsement seems to be working in foreign countries, too, so that's good. But nice to have you both, Victor. Nice to have you both. Very proud of you. The Prime Minister, another really just a great guy, Pashinyan of...
He's bringing everybody together. And the ones that aren't are the deep state. And the deep state has definitely infiltrated many, many, many countries, Britain, England for sure. So we're in a fight. And there's not a lot we can do externally with a lot of the other countries in the world, Australia, England. I'm not going to mention France. I'm kidding. French people, I want to like you. I do. Macron's a pile of trash, but it might be harder to get the French people on board. All that said, there's a lot of individuals that are in these countries that want to help their own countries, but don't know how to. And there's hope for Europe, by the way. And the United States is doing something pretty effed up. It's going to piss off Europe, and I love it. It's part of the whole deep state's freaking out section. Got that coming up here later, way later in the show. Donald Trump saying, I only want Americans to vote in American elections. This will be, and this is why the vote's an ID, and I need you to please just take 30 seconds, pause the video for 30 seconds, just imagine it. That's all I need you to do. Just imagine literally seeing the person, if not the person in front of you, has to show their ID, and then you show your ID. That's good enough. 2 people's good enough. 3 is great. That's just extra credit if you want. You can even hear it said as you're walking into the voting thing. If you want to take it real far and the person behind, hey, do you have your ID? And you'd be like, I love it, right? Like, that's awesome. We need a fair vote. People that don't deserve a vote shouldn't get a vote. I don't care if they have an opinion. That's great. Talk about your opinion. Share it with everybody. Savannah Guthrie's missing mom. There's still no movement. FBI contacted Mexican authorities about a potential purchase. That fizzled out. There's nothing to that. Nothing so far. They say they've got DNA, but the DNA is not showing up in a database, which just means the person's never been arrested, essentially. It's like, that's a bad sign or a good sign, or it means there's somebody that is able to remove their records, whatever. I mean, it's a number of things. The dollar amounts just, again, this whole thing is just weird. I'm sure many of you think so, and there's probably all sorts of crazy shit. This is not a rabbit hole I care to go down. I really don't care. I really don't. I mean, I wish their family well. I hope they get her mom back. I honestly don't give a shit, though. This is a news lady and her mom, and I wish them the best. I hope you find your mom. I really do. That's really, really, really messed up. I don't know what's going on, but I don't give a shit at all. There's way bigger problems in the world right now. California cries political hit job as Trump team targets billions in unemployment fraud. Again, I hope you find your mom. I swear I do. With billions of dollars. Your person wants 5 million, 6 million. It's so strange. Everything about it is strange. It's the weirdest damn thing. Seems like somebody kind of close to him. I don't know what it is. It just feels like it. Yeah, California crying political hit job because Trump administration's digging into all the bullshit. It's federal money, man. COVID-19 funds. Tens of billions of dollars that California lost. Just, oh, sorry. We'll try better next time. No, you won't. And how many of those people, we want to see the records. Here's why, Gavin. Because you and your families and the 4 families that run California likely are tied up in a bunch of that. I bet you a bunch of those LLCs are somehow connected to you all. Or family members, or whatever. So, now, let's look into it. I'm just curious. Gavin, I'm sure you're scot-free with that beautiful smile you've got, sir, and that lovely hair. You've got really nice hair. Very nice. Lovely. But let's just, I'm sure you're fine. Of course. You've got nothing to worry about. No, we just want to look. It's probably some bad people that are involved. That's all. Not you. No, not you or your family or any of the other governors maybe out there. It's funny, the governor thing, they're not doing real well, and they haven't been for a long time. I actually didn't know this. Democrat governors are not a strong suit, and they're getting worse. In fact, state congresses, what do you call them? When you got the Senate and the House inside the state, same thing? Congress? Whatever. Those peoples, they're generally favoring conservative. It's weird. I don't know. It's so strange. And this CNN, I don't know. Like this guy, you like this guy, you don't like this guy. I don't know. But CNN's got 2 people on their entire roster that are pretty awesome. I don't know who this chick is. It's the first time I've ever seen her before. You'll see her in a second. Somebody needs to feed her. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, governors have a whole lot of power, and there's all this talk of a Democratic wave, but the gubernatorial races nationwide should stand as a wake-up call for Democrats, because take a look here, the race raiders, governors post-2026 election, at least tilting to the Republicans. Look at this, a majority, 26. That is, at this point, the number of governors that are expected, at least tilting towards the Republican Party at this point. Democrats come in at just 20. The rest of the races are toss-up. Of course, you sum up to 50. And I will note that the Republicans right now hold a 26 to 24 gubernatorial seat advantage. So at this point, it doesn't look like Republicans on the net and the aggregate are actually going to lose any governorships. In fact, when you add in those toss-ups, they may gain. So this should stand as a major wake-up call to Democrats, because if there's a wave building, it has not, at least at this point, hit the state level when it comes to governorships.
And add to that, you point out that when it comes to governor's races, Democrats have had a bit of a problem over recent years.
Yeah, they have had a big problem recently. If you go back, the last time that Democrats held a majority of governorships was all the way back in 2010, and that streak is expected to continue. And I will note, I went all the way back through the record books, Kate Baldwin. I went all the way back through the record books. This is now the longest streak in which Democrats did not hold a majority of governorships in at least a century. This is a massive problem for Democrats because, as we mentioned at the top, a lot of the policy is determined on the state level. And if all of a sudden you can't actually lead a majority of governorships, the executive branch on the state level, that means Republicans are in fact forming and implementing most of the policies in the states, and therefore a lot of the policies nationwide.
Well, and the power of the governor also has to do with how the state legislature it looks. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, okay, so it's not just the governorships. How about those state legislatures, right? Okay, take a look here. Republicans have held a majority of state legislatures since 2012. And again, this is the longest such streak dating back at least a century in which Republicans have held the majority of the state legislatures. In fact, for much of the 20th century, what you saw was Democrats actually held more state legislatures than Republicans did. And now it is the exact opposite. And if you go state legislature by state legislature, at this point it seems likely, of course still uncertain since we have a number of months until November elections, that Republicans will continue the streak of holding the majority of state legislatures, continue their streak of holding the majority of governorships, and therefore Democrats will be locked out of holding a power in positions that really do determine a lot a lot of the policy nationwide. As I said, this should stand as a wake-up call for Democrats, because at this point, Republicans look like they're going to continue to hold the majority of governorships nationwide.
A very interesting look at this. It's good to see you here. Thanks.
Nice to see you.
You need to eat some food, and let the record reflect that when I was talking about state Congress, I meant state legislature. That's why. Yeah, I had no idea. That's why he helped. Thank you, dude. Thank you, guy. I don't know. Like, I know you're supposed to button that button. It bugs me, though. I don't like when you can see the shirt. I really just don't like that. I feel like that. Anyway, this is, I'm like damn near autistic. I don't know what's wrong with me. I was fighting this guy. I was even talking to Ron in my the gym. I bring up this guy all the time. He's an older dude. Been an interesting fella. Anyway, Republican candidate Steve Hilton now leading the race for California governor. And I was like, I still like Chad Bianco, and he's kind of local, but I don't anymore. I don't. Chad crossed a line with me, a bad line. And I think it's important to point out, Chad Bianco vows to support path to citizenship for illegal aliens if elected. Now, this is Breitbart, and I'm sure if we dig into his words a little better, but I frankly want him to fall on this grenade and try to explain it to everybody, because here's the thing, Chad Bianco, you may be Italian, but we don't need a governor that's going to do that. So I am withdrawing my support of Bianco officially. I'm going to hold back on giving it to Steve Hilton because, way far away. Where'd I go? I don't want to give it to Steve yet because he was a newscaster and he's part of the Hilton family. Those are two things that are big strikes. He might be the good one, and it's possible. You've got people that are wealthy that are good. I believe that very much, but they have a high level of proof that they need to provide, if you will, right? Trust but verify, they say. When you're coming with extra strikes attached to you, it's like somebody, I don't want to beat up on the guy because lately I've been listening to him some, and he's been pretty good, so I don't want to beat up on the guy. But like, he also stopped bragging about it, which is, I think, telling. I used to be CIA. You know what? That's not good. You don't want to talk about that. The other thing you used to be, which is super cool. They made a movie after you fuckers. Yes, run with that. Especially the team you were a part of. Let's leave the other part of it. It was in my earlier years. I had to pay for college. I don't know, whatever you want to say. But anyway, needless to say, progress is being made. People are starting to realize there's paths forward that make better sense. And I like that. I love that, in fact. So I think we're coming a long ways. I'm not trying to be a total douche here. Like, I'm just the small guy, but I think I actually influence more than I realize sometimes, whatever the case is. Kansas legislature, they just overrode the Democrat governor's veto to enact a law that, I'll let him tell you.
Good morning. Yeah, Kansas lawmakers recently passed this bathroom bill. What it means is that you have to legally use the restroom associated with your sex at birth. So if you were born male, you'd use men's restroom. If you were born female, you'd use the women's bathroom. Basically, this makes it illegal for those who are transgender to use a public bathroom associated with the gender that they associate with right now. So those who support this bill say it's all about protecting women. They don't want someone who was born a male but now identifies as female using the women's restroom. But those against this bill say it discriminates against the transgender population. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly vetoed this bill last Friday, but yesterday the Kansas Senate voted 31-9 along party lines to override her veto. And today, the Kansas House will vote as to whether to override the governor's veto, and they have the votes to get it passed. Now, if it's passed by the House today and becomes law, a trans person who is caught using a public restroom opposite their born gender could face up to a $1,000 fine and criminal charges. Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach indicated that he will prosecute, as he doesn't think that many trans people will be able to get away with sneaking into an opposite-sex bathroom.
Well, I think in many instances, though, including in this very building in the Capitol, there are cases where it's not like that. It's very obvious that the individual in the women's room is a biological male.
The concern that we have by implementing this type of legislation, this discriminatory legislation, where it need not be in the economic impact it could have for future opportunities for our state.
Now, this bill also requires that all Kansas birth certificates and driver's licenses reflect the person's gender at birth. So any birth certificates or driver's license that have been altered and changed and sent out to trans people, they will have to be reissued. So we'll see. That is only if this bill becomes law. Again, the House voting on it today. If it passes, it'll be the new law in Kansas, guys.
All right, Matt.
I just so want to be a part of the discussion this dude had with his cameraman. He's like, where do you think we should shoot this shot? How about right in front of the bathroom doors? You know, because that demonstrates the whole point of the story. Anyway, yeah. I don't think it was necessary is my point. I think you could have done that story in front of a beautiful background and probably, or this, courthouse or some shit. Anyway, whatever the case is, it's awesome. Good for you, Kansas. Proud of you guys. It's fantastic. Teacher loses career over 2-word Facebook post supporting ICE. Literally said, go ICE in a Facebook post. Cost him his teaching position, and apparently they've de-educated him. Like they took away his educatorness. You can't teach anymore, they said, I guess. Sure, that is illegal. So we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be a great court case on this one. West Elementary in Chicago. Yeah. Oh, Gary Elementary School. Sorry. In West Chicago. Which, I don't know what the bad part of Chicago is. I feel like it's like LA where it's just don't go in the city at all. And yeah, you're probably better for it in the bigger picture. By the way, I don't know what's up. I got this weird little sinusy thing that happened to me about, 2 days ago. A slight sore throat, which is always indicative you got a problem, right? But the sniffling, it was weird. I don't normally get that. Normally it gets congested, not runny. It's very strange. Needless to say, I decided it's time to start the parasite cleanse again. So I started it yesterday, did it again today. And again, it's not necessarily going to fix anything that's bacterial, although I've got my contagion kit, so I'm not worried. I'm covered. But it does cover any sort of any sort of virus that's floating around my body. That parasite cleanse kills virus, and it also kills parasites, which are somewhat the same. They've got amazing products here. If you go to TWC, the wellness company, twc.health/OTF, twc.health/OTF, you'll notice there's a couple powerful medications they've got here. And these are done doctor prescription, completely legal. And you got telemed that you can do and do end up doing. I almost said do. Ivermectin and mebendazole. 90 capsules of 25 milligrams of ivermectin, 250 milligrams of mebendazole. This is the virus killer. It kills any sorts of viruses. Lice is a virus type thing, and it actually would kill lice too if you had that. Probably a number of other weird bodily things like that. Any sort of living organism that's living off you in a parasitic fashion, and or possibly in a good fashion, will be destroyed. And you'll be better for it. Now, again, there's good stuff in our bodies that we've sometimes got to be careful. So that's why you do it in spurts. Ivermectin just by itself, it's very fantastic. 18 milligram capsules, 84 of them, great price. twc.health/OTF. Get your ivermectins. Also, contagion kit. This is in case, God forbid, you get the flu. And you're one of those people that like, the flu kicks my ass. Well, this one right here, it'll stop lice, respiratory infections, acne, right? Bronchitis, COPD, inner ear infections. Yeah, this kit. I get it, ear infections every once in a while. I've learned how to clean my ears. I used to just cram shit in there, and that's what did it. So I've actually gotten better. I don't get them very often now, but when you do, they suck balls. This has the ability to stop those, too. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, you've heard of that one, HCQ. Zithromycin, that's an antibiotic. That'll help your upper respiratory for sure. They've got another generic Tamiflu. It's essentially another antiviral. And budesonide. So those are like the asthma medications, and people do the asthma stuff. That's basically what that is. And so they've got a nebulizer and 5 vials. And if you for some reason can't breathe, you're at that point where you're like, oh, I can't, right? You got this budesonide nebulizer. You're set. You'll be fine. Breathe that thing, and you'll be like, your whole life will change at that moment. You'll just like, oh my God, thank you. So you got 5 of those vials. This will save your life if you're one of those people that the flu kind of, destroys, if you will. Other stuff, they got weight loss, they've got it by goal, it's got amazing stuff. TWC.health/OTF. TWC.health/OTF. Mold and allergy emergency kit. What the shiz? That's new. That's new. What's in this? Mold-related asthma and bronchospasm. That's happening with a lot of you guys, right? What's in this? So they got albuterol, an inhaler. They got, holy crap, generic Questrin. I can say that easier. They've got a Flonase, a nasal spray, generic Flonase. What is this? Antifungal capsule, generic Sporanox. Wow, so you get some fungus inside you. That'll F you up, man. Funguses will kick your ass. Actually, a buddy of mine, his wife died that way. Related to other stuff, but the funguses will get you. Generic Singular. What is this? Oral, I don't know, leukotriene. Holy crap, this is crazy. I didn't know this shit existed. They got an EpiPen in here too. Damn. Generic EpiPen. Okay. Wow. So if you're one of the people that's like, yeah, Dad, because there's parts of this country, I know. I don't live in one of those parts, but yes, I've heard. What is this? Anyway, they got cool stuff. What's naltrexone? Reduces inflammation linked to pain and weight gain. May reduce inflammation in the brain tied to cognitive decline and fatigue. Commonly used to treat conditions like Crohn's, RA, and fibromyalgia. Yeah, that one. Wow. That's what I'm telling you. They got everything. These guys cover it all. They got it by goals. They've got it by collections. Check it out. Go to twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. My gosh. Make sure you're protected no matter what happens. You'll be fine. They got meat packs. Oh, I love those. They do. They got just real fast. Not jerky. Jerky's good for sure. But no, they got these beef boxes. These are incredible. They're sent to you frozen. Cattleman's lean meats. This one I'm halfway through. I'm going to get this one next for sure, and I totally want to try this. But for all you guys that like to smoke, there's a bunch of stuff in there that's going to fit for you. Again, it's just amazing. They ship it to you. It's frozen. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's very good. I've had one of the filet mignons, extraordinarily tender. Two of the top sirloins, very, very yummy, and I still got to work my way through the rest of that yumminess. It's so good. So good. That said, there you go. twc.health/OTF. Time to move on. I should have been on the camera. Doesn't matter. New York as mayor, you've heard of him. Yeah, he's proposed major budget cuts for the New York Police Department. Not going to hire a whole bunch of additional officers. And yeah, so New York, you guys are fucked. That's all I'm going to say. Fucked. Y'all about to become Portland or Seattle or whatever. It's going to be so horrible. But it's cool. I mean, again, whether they're voting for it or not, there's a lot of people that definitely seem to have buyer's remorse. It's going to be interesting how this all plays out. Trump administration pushes ban on using federal funds to give illegals free transport. So they're no longer allowed to give illegals transportation with federal funds if they're trying to get them, say, out of the way of law enforcement or helping them not get captured or any of those kinds of things. Like, I don't know how they're going to prove this, but it does have some weird caveats attached to it. DHS shut down. They were having these talks, and it's hitting a wall. GOP's not going to go with it. They're basically trying to say you guys can't enforce the law is what the Dems are pushing. And this is what this is meant to show, is the Dems literally want people to not follow the law, which 86% of the population agrees with right now. This is horribly unpopular with the actual Americans. I get it's really popular to all the people you've promised the moon and have given nothing to because you don't give a shit about them at all. Never have. You never will. They're just votes. So yeah, the talks aren't going well. We got a judge that's going to throw out a ruling backing Trump mass detention policy. This U.S. District Court Judge Sunshine Sykes, Sunshine, first name. Yeah, right? Biden put Sunshine in. Go figure. They're saying that the Department of Homeland Security and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement are at times relying on shaky legal ground to detain migrants, is what this judge is saying. So this district judge, is saying you can't enforce immigration anywhere. And she's shooting down a specific ruling by I think it was a court's immigration court or something to that effect. She's a district judge. Needless to say, this will be appealed. It's part of the process. Sucks going through it. I get you. Minnesota judge. They're holding a lawyer for DOJ in contempt. This is actually one of the JAG lawyers they brought up. Hold him in contempt as tensions flare over an immigration case. I guess there's some identification documents that they're expecting this man to turn over, this judge, that were taken from this illegal. What's funny is they're probably illegal documents. I can't wait to see how this one plays out, too. This is going to be another one. I hope they do something fun where when the appeals court looks at things and they're like, well, these were fake documents. You're asking them to give fake documents back? I'm assuming. I don't know if this is true yet. We'll get there. But hypothetically, you want us to give fake documents back. That's illegal. So it would be interesting if, they were ever able to impose some sort of fine back on the judge for being illegal. Like, you literally were fining somebody for following the law. We want that fine that you established on them to be put towards you. You now owe whatever the hell crazy amount of fines because you did some crazy ass illegal order. And think of how many district judges would start to sit on their hands a little more if there was some sort of punishment for being just communists, crazy ass like dictators, right? Like, we could shut down the president's power. You're a district judge. You should never be able to do that. Never. You shouldn't have to either. Granted, it saved us before in the past too. It's like the filibuster. Whatever. By the way, Trump is putting a bunch of judges in. It's funny, Kansas State is, or Kansas is getting, they hate when I say that. I'm sorry, Kansas. I know. Jeffrey Coleman, he's one that's going to serve as a district judge of the United States District Court. We've got Tony Mativi. He's going to be a district court justice. Tony Powell, a judge for the district court in Kansas. That's 3 of them, man. That's crazy. And then also Justin Smith. He's going to serve on the 8th Circuit in Missouri. I don't have any smart-ass way to say their name, so whatever. Missouri. That's what it is. Miss Our Eye. There you go. That's about as good as I can do to fuck your name up. Right now. Give me time. Maybe I'll come up with something better. Donald Trump truth this apparently. Well, he did. The Commission of Fine Arts just approved unanimously 6-0 with one recusal because he had a conflict and that he worked on this project. But the great ballroom is coming forward. So this is what it's supposed to look like. Outside is literally, it's going to look like the White House for anybody that's like, it's going to look like Trump Towers. No, it's going to look like the White House. It's going to match perfectly on the outside. But once you go on down and get inside the inside, if I can somehow do that, because I can't seem to. Try. Oh, shiz, really? That's how you're going to be? All right, there we go. Here's the inside, though. Man, look at that. Look at those shenanigans. That is crazy. That's gorgeous. Can you imagine that? Like, I hope I one day get invited to. Well, I kind of don't. I don't know. I'd hate that to deal with parking. Like, I hope there's like an easy way. There's a White House shuttle. Okay. All right, I'll do it. Can't even imagine. It's cool as hell. Anyway, whatever. Some fun Epstein stuff. If you guys are curious about any of this crazy Epstein stuff. Apparently, Epstein files have revealed that the Israeli government had installed and maintained security systems at Jeffrey Epstein. I guess I want to play this. It's 5 minutes. What the hell? Check it out.
Show goes up that shows that the Israeli government installed, alarms and security equipment, surveillance equipment, at Jeffrey Epstein's East 66th Street apartment, stretching for years. According to emails that have been released by the Department of Justice in 2016 and 2017 at least, and it looks like for periods that go beyond that, because Ehud Barak was staying so frequently in the apartment. He's the former prime minister of Israel, and former prime ministers are entitled to certain levels of security throughout the rest of their career. Barak would be especially entitled to it because of his time as Minister of Defense and also as a top intelligence official. He was staying for long stretches of time at Jeffrey Epstein's apartment, which was technically owned by Mark Epstein, but effectively controlled by Jeffrey Epstein. Mark Epstein, his brother, that the Israeli consulate, the UN permanent mission for Israel in New York, became responsible for security at this Epstein apartment. They installed different surveillance and security devices in that apartment. You put up, I don't know if we have either of these two elements available, but they go back and forth, and it turns out that basically anybody who wanted to go into the apartment had to have a background check and had to be cleared by the Israeli government. And there was the handler for the apartment even turned over, according to the emails. So like they're going back and forth with, they're saying, hey, we're going to have some new folks coming in, and a different Israeli government official responds, say, I'm taking over for Rafi. I'm now handling this apartment security. That's the gist of what we can glean, just from these documents. Of course, 2016, 2017, this is like long after his conviction. And the first thing it does is blow away the claims by Ehud Barak that they barely ever met. It's like, okay. But I think we have pretty convincingly blown away that one already.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it also means that the Israeli government, knew how close Epstein and Barak was. This is also the same apartment where Yoni Koren, who was another Israeli spy and a protege of Barak, stayed. He stayed at that apartment as well.
And where is this part? What is this apartment?
So it's East 66th.
This is
not the townhouse.
This is the.
It's maybe a 20-minute walk from this apartment to the kind of Central Park famous townhouse. It's an apartment where he would have people stay who were coming into town.
I was going to say, I've seen this in the emails,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's women.
Yes, a lot of times it's women.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they would have to clear.
Yeah.
He would have to clear those women if it was during these stretches of time.
He often appears to be giving it as a favor.
With the consulate, it is a favor. Like people, and he did his Paris apartment this way too.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna be in Paris. Can I stay at your place?
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna be in New York. Can I stay at your place?
And sometimes you see him talking to girls where he says, at least do me the courtesy while you're staying in my apartment to, keep me apprised.
Right, because she didn't get back to him fast enough.
Yeah,
She was
exactly.
out of town.
Yeah. So I assume that's the 66.
Yes.
Well, so that's very interesting.
Mark's company owned like most of the building.
Okay.
It seems like.
Okay.
The development company. And yeah, so you can read the story from some of the details on it. But yeah, so that's a pretty tight link right there.
This is one of
the
the
Israeli government was doing the security for Epstein's apartment.
This is one of the most significant stories to come out of the entire DOJ archive, I think, Ryan. This one from you and Maz is huge.
And people will say, well, yeah, it's because Barack was a former prime minister and, they all get security. It's like, okay, but like, follow that train of thought a little further.
Right.
So clearly, what this shows, to paraphrase Bassem Youssef, is that he was a KGB agent. Yeah, he was working on behalf of the Russians.
Yes, of course. But I mean,
there are always back doors to a lot of security systems, and especially the company that's hosting it, because there has to be. Sometimes people forget their passwords, stuff happens, right? You've got to be able to do that as the company hosting it, if you will. But Israel being directly behind it, I think it answers a lot of the questions many people. I mean, if you didn't already assume that, I did. I think intelligence in general, but I think what's happening through Israel is probably key, and that might be the the funny thing. They talk about how the three powers that were at work were the three legs of the stool, even if you will, that existed was you had the United States, D.C. was basically going to be the military and all that. You had the Vatican was the spiritual side of it, and you had London, the city of London was the money side of it, essentially the finance and all that, right? But the part they never talk about was the intelligence side, and that was, I think, always Israel to a large extent. The Mossad have been powerful people throughout history. They've done some crazy stuff. I mean, amazing really could be said too. They thought of doing stuff that people never thought. The pager thing was a great example of just something friggin' crazy. It's like, who thinks that way? They do. Now again, Strong chance a lot of the Khazarians, that's kind of who's running a lot of that stuff. And this is kind of the apparatus that we're trying to take down. And we've been feeding these guys billions of dollars out of our own pockets forever. King Charles has reprimanded the arrest, or Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew's been arrested. I should probably have said that first, but he's been arrested. And the king's basically come out and said, no one's above the law and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, the king's come out. This dude looks like my physics teacher from high school. It always trips me out. Looks exactly like him. Obviously, Prince Andrew didn't teach my class, but looks just like him. It's funny. I don't want to say his name. It'd be embarrassing if he was out there. But yeah, he got arrested today. First images of him being arrested. They showed up with a whole bunch of cars, yada, yada, yada. I don't know if they made a big spectacle out of it. They kind of did, I guess, a little, but they released the images, so they wanted to make some form of spectacle. Bill Gates is pulling out of a high-profile, he's pulling out of a high-profile Indian AI summit as Epstein fallout continues to accelerate. Yeah, anybody touching Epstein is destroyed. This likely might be the downfall of the Bill Gates. It's happening, folks. Well, I can't wait to see. I want arrests. Do you need an arrest? I don't know. We're seeing people crush under their own reputations. Epstein's ally was talking to feds about flipping. He wanted $3 million to keep quiet, and then he backed off. Some are wondering if Epstein maybe paid him more. But this dude supposedly has pictures, evidence. He's guilty, too. French modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel. His network delivered new girls from around the world to Jeffrey Epstein on a regular basis. This dude was smuggling, trafficking children to Epstein, and he wants a deal. This dude should be like, someone should, horrible, but hold him out of a plane and let go of him while you're flying. No parachute. Horrible. Horrible man. I wouldn't really hope we'd do that to anybody, but, some people just, if something like that happened and they said it afterward, it'd be like, well, he kind of deserved it. The Dem mayor is begging for Trump to help end the Potomac sewage crisis. What I find interesting is it's Muriel Bowser, who they're downstream of the poo contamination, right? The poo release, the return to poo. Which is a great song, by the way. Muriel Bowser's asking for help. I want your help. What's Trump going to do in D.C.? You're downstream. I find it funny. So I almost feel like this is Muriel Bowser trying to get some I love you, Trump. Okay. But I'm just wondering, if they're probably going to say this is my video. It's funny every once in a while. X and YouTube are the only ones that actually do any sort of weird changing of the videos. No other site that I'm on actually messes with any of the stuff I post. But yeah, those two definitely. It's kind of funny. Anyway, whatever. You make the radar, you make the radar. I guess I push it a lot, but Mayor Bowser's doing this. I just, again, the problem is up in Baltimore, upstream, wherever the hell, with Baltimore and Maryland and Virginia, both of them, and they got this sewer pipe that collapsed. That's where the problem is. That's what's spewing shit into the river. Once you stop that, then yeah, eventually the river's going to kind of clean itself, if you will. Yeah, sucks, DC, but just think of it this way. The water flowing through is exactly like you. It rhymes even. It rhymes beautifully. LIS Technologies initiates engagement with the NRC. Huh? LIS? NRC? Who the fuck are these people? Exactly. LIS Technologies, that's the name of the company. They're doing this laser enrichment uranium. I don't know if they're doing it with sharks, with freaking laser beams. I don't think it's happening like that. But the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, that's the NRC. They're the narcs. But they're working with them. They got this new way to do enrichment. This article's kind of cool. It gets into the three different forms of enrichment. First, there was gaseous diffusion, which was only used back in the day of the Manhattan Project. Due to its extreme power consumption, newer technology was developed for the second generation, which is gas centrifuge. Centrifuges are still in use. That's what Iran's got. Third generation technology laser enrichment is currently under development by multiple companies, including this LIS company, as well as ASPI, Hexium, and GLE. Yeah, I don't know who any of them are either. Hexium I've maybe heard of, and maybe it's just because it's a word and I want to believe that. They've got a place out in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I lived there for about 1.5 years, 2 years. It was a trippy city. A very cool city, but weird. There was like driving into the city, there's like literally, if you look off into the forest, there's like big giant circles of dead. Nothing's alive in the circle. Everything's dead. Don't know what it is. Don't know if it's something splashed in there, but whatever it is, it's killing at a radius, a perfect circle. It's very weird. All over the place. It's all over the place. Who knows what crazy shit's buried out there? Wild, wild, wild. PGM board. Yeah, more of that stuff. What the hell's PGM? It's a company, I guess. PGM Interconnection. They approved a giant $11 billion transmission project, essentially moving electricity from place to place. That is one of the more expensive parts. A lot of people think electricity moves, and it does, but not like most people think. Most people see, like, they go, it's a bunch of electrons, right? And, yeah, okay, there you go. That's exactly it. There's wire, right? You got a long wire that goes miles and miles. And you got electrons inside the wire. And most people think those just inch their way down the wire, and eventually they end up coming out of your plug. That's not how it works. As far as alternating current, AC goes back and forth 60 times a second. It goes back and forth. And what that does, it creates a magnetic field. You can put a magnet under it with wires wrapped around it and actually causes current to move back and forth. Every time it moves, it moves. So it creates movement. It's just a cool electricity and magnetism, the way they work together. It's fantastic. It's really cool. So it doesn't go down the wire. It just goes back and forth 60 times a second. So it might move, like a meter. I don't even know how far it goes, but it's not very far. Might move a meter, and then it bounces back a meter, then it goes a meter, and then it bounces back a meter. It just goes back and forth a meter. That electron never leaves that little segment of wire. That's how it works. Needless to say, the transmission is a lot of wattage because the places where you do the drawdown, where you have your transformers, it actually pulls some of that power from the wire. It actually kind of almost retards the motion, if you will. So you do a heavy amount of volts through the wires to kind of make it easier. I don't know. I know enough to pretend I feel like I know something about this, but there's, of course, experts out there that know far better. Long story short, they're working on the transmission part, and they talk about some of this is there's places where there literally are transforming the AC into direct current or DC. And so there is some of that too built into this project. I would assume that's for stuff like charging Teslas and shit. I don't know what else we use DC for heavily in cities, but I would assume a lot of the charging would be part of that, because that's very, I think, DC-esque. All that said, lots of happenings in the world. Gold is up a little bit. Silver's up a little bit. Well, silver's up, it's all up a little bit. Silver's almost at 80 again. That's going to freak people out. Gold's over 5,000 where it's been. Again, it's going to chill here for a second, and then it's going to go back to its craziness here soon enough. Bitcoin seems to be sitting at 66. I feel like it's going to adjust. That's not good for it. It's definitely having a hard time getting back to where it once was by a stretch. Yeah, 67 barely. I thought it would. XRP is down at $1.41. So yeah, things are happening. Actual stock markets. Dow Jones is down a chunk, so it's still at 49,395. Remember, it hit 50,000? Yeah, it's down almost $1,000 from that, which isn't a lot, or 1,000, I should say. Grand implies money. S&P's down below as well, 68.61. It was at 7,000, I think, or at least they're talking 7,000. That's like a legitimate. So all that said, we've got a fun little bit of experience that we're going to be going through. People are freaking out about what's coming up, and this DS sphere is going to be a big part of this. There are things that are going to happen in this world. The deep state's desperately trying not to mess. Well, they're using the control over the stock markets and stuff like that as like a fear mechanism. But Trump's like, I am so prepared for you guys to do that. We'll be okay. Go ahead, do your worst. We're ready. And so the deep state's kind of in a tough place right now. And whether they do, whether they don't, we'll find out. Precious metals, though, precious metals protect your actual buying power. And that's all it comes down to, buying power. You know that the price of your house has gone up, right? That doesn't mean your house is more valuable. It's not. It's the same house. It's more expensive because the value of the dollar has gone down, so it takes more of them to buy your house. Precious metals protect your buying power. Not the dollar amount, because those are changing rapidly, but what you can actually purchase with the current dollars you have. If you've got a bunch of 401k or IRA money, it's pre-tax money, so it's a little tricky. My good friends at Goldco can help you move however much of that you'd like. You can divest and protect your buying power until a short time into the future, year, 2, 3. We're going to see silver go up a bunch, so you're going to see a multiplier kick in there. And gold's just going to protect your buying power. It'll go up with inflation, maybe slightly higher, but it'll go up with inflation. You'll protect your buying power. It might be 8,000, might end up being 10,000. And people will be like, oh my God, I can't believe how much that is. You're never going to turn it back into Federal Reserve notes, ever. You're going to turn it back into our new money. And I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to protect your buying power. Whatever you can buy today with your Federal Reserve notes with that amount of gold, silver, you'll be able to buy in the new system because it protects your buying power and it'll allow you to transfer that over to the new system. You're already halfway there. Let my friends help you. They've got multiple suppliers and they're going to give you up to 10% free silver on the deal, and they're going to do it tax-free and penalty-free. And it's physical metals. Your physical metals. They can literally send the metals to you. That's a payout, but they can send them to you. It's metals. They're yours. They're in a trust with your name on it. It's your metals. It's pre-tax, so if they hand it to you, you get taxed, you get penalized. It sucks. So they kind of got to keep it away from you. For all the people that are like, you have to have them or you don't have anything. This is 401k or IRA. It's pre-tax money. It's a different story for the most part. If you have cash, they've got a sweet deal for you. They're going to give you up to 10% free gold or silver, a free safe and free storage if you so desire. So again, all happening through drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system with your buying power while you can, because literally 4 weeks from now, your buying power will go down. drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system while you can. And Cuba's becoming a mess, and they are bumming a lot. And Russia's kind of like, come on, man, like, be cool. Throw them a bone. I think we're happy to help, and we just need them to come to the table. Now, there's a lot of funny discussions going around that Marco Rubio is making secret deals behind the scenes with Cuba. He is working with Cuba, by the way. He's not making any secret deals. I guarantee you that. The sources that are pushing these other funny stories are just bullshit. That said, they are working a deal. They will likely come to one worst case scenario if they got I don't think they want to do anything crazy, but they will. And it would be super simple in Cuba. Like, your lights are already out. We wouldn't even have to try. We didn't have to use the discombobulator on you. Your shit's already turned off. You got no gas. What are you going to do? Ba 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 ba, pew 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 pew. Right? As the zombie guys come out of the plane that are shooting hundreds of rounds a minute. Needless to say, Cuba's going to figure it out. Now, here's Mojado, I think that's her name. Yeah, Maria Corina Mojado. She stunned the world by saying that President Trump's freaking awesome sauce is basically my words.
You talked eloquently about the role of President Trump in getting us to this point. If President Trump and this administration, but particularly the president himself, is able to bring Venezuela to a free and fair election, we all know what that means for the hemisphere, but can you put it into a historical context? You said it's like the Berlin Wall falling. What does President Trump mean to the people of Latin America?
This is historic. This happens once in a lifetime. This will be remembered for generations to come. This is the magnitude of what's going on. For the first time in history, we will have the Americas free of communism and dictatorship, and building strong alliances of free, democratic, and prosperous nations.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent point. We talked about Cuba earlier in this segment, and what happened in Venezuela was absolutely critical to seeing the collapse that we're now witnessing of the Cuban regime. So you're absolutely right. This is a domino effect, and we could, for the very first time, have a hemisphere free of communism, the Chinese kicked out, and the dictator's gone. Maria, thank you so much for
Free of communism. That's exactly what's happening. It's going to happen. It is happening. Now, we're seeing the deep state freak out about it. Freaking out. Deep state is panicking. And we're seeing all the players. The world stage is seeing all the players. Even our good dancing friends from Argentina and Hungary. They're seeing it. Now, here's Donald Trump talking about the Board of Peace and how it's going to be overlooking the UN.
More peaceful place for us all. We're going to be working with the United Nations very closely. We're going to bring them back. I think the United Nations has great potential, really great potential. It has not lived up to potential. The 8 wars, I never even spoke to them about one of them, and I should be speaking to them about all of them. Someday I won't be here. The United Nations will be, I think, is going to be much stronger, and the Board of Peace is going to almost be looking over the United Nations and making sure it runs properly. But we're going to strengthen up the United Nations. We're going to make sure its facilities are good. They need help, and they need help money-wise. We're going to help them money-wise, and we're going to make sure the United Nations is viable. And you have some very good people at the United Nations, can do a good job. But as I said...
So he's using very different rhetoric this time around because he's not fighting, he's leading. And there's a difference. Leaders... they'll say and do what needs to be done. They don't really care what other people say. But they're not necessarily being dicks about it. When he was fighting, that's when you throw jabs, right? You dodge and weave and all that nonsense. Not like I'm a fighter in any way, shape, or form. Well, anyway, I almost said something. Oh, my God. That would have been horrible. Oh, yeah, that was horrible. Anyway, sorry. Woo! Glad my filter worked on that one. Donald Trump said, I have been telling Prime Minister Starmer of the United Kingdom that leases are no good when it comes to countries, and that he is making a big mistake by entering a 100-year lease with whoever it is that is claiming rights, title, and interest to Diego Garcia, strategically located in the Indian Ocean. Our relationship with the United Kingdom is a strong and powerful one, and it has been for many years, but Prime Minister Starmer is losing control of this important island by claiming of entities never known of before. In our opinion, they are fictitious in nature. Should Iran decide not to make a deal, it may be necessary for the United States to use Diego Garcia and the airfield located in Fairford in order to eradicate a potential attack by a highly unstable and dangerous regime. An attack that would potentially be made on the United Kingdom as well as other friendly countries. Prime Minister Starmer should not lose control for any reason of Diego Garcia by entering a tenuous, at best, 100-year lease. This land should not be taken away from the UK, and if it is allowed to be, it will be a blight on our great ally. We will always be ready, willing, and able to fight for the UK, but they have to remain strong in the face of wokeism and other problems put before them. Do not give away Diego Garcia. The UK is blocking Trump from using RAF bases for strikes on Iran. Yes. The deep state within the UK is literally telling Trump, you cannot use our bases, which would include Diego Garcia, for strikes on Iran. Now, we don't have to. We have 2 carrier strike groups. It seems as though we were bringing the second one for a reason. And we can fly our stealth all the way across the world if we need to. We've done it before. But this is only going to hurt the deep state and the United States. It's going to be obvious. The separation's going to occur. And there's many British people right now that are like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Why are you pissing off the United States? Most of England is like, what? But yet it would have an accent and sound intelligent. This strikes me as very interesting. The only stuff, I swear to God, it's been the videos where I've made fun of him. But it's been videos where he's been in there, like, and then, it's obvious that I'm making fun of him. I don't think they can cut my stuff. Starmer. Even though everybody knows what I mean by that, if I don't say it at the same time. What was that? Clench. Anyway. A lot of chess pieces moving, folks. So the people that are basically trying to keep tabs on what general forces are in the area, probably now or already, because they've been saying, they're going to leave soon. That probably meant they left already. Again, they're not going to tell us, please. U.S. confirmed, we knew it would take 15 days to get there. So my guess is they've been saying they were going to leave soon for about, 12, 13 days. And then they're like, I don't know, we might get them out there tomorrow, next day. So soon. U.S. aircraft movements, Europe, Middle East in the last 48 hours. Numbers close to posts. So these are best guesses. And this is like not just this is like they've done some digging. They got a pretty fair idea. This is probably pretty close to accurate. 48 F-16s, 12 F-22s, 18 to 36 F-35s. Damn, it depends what other countries might join us. 6 E-3 Sentries, 1 plus E-11A Bacon. I don't know what the Bacon is. BACN. 40 plus tankers. A lot of refueling. They say that the level of stuff that's been sent out there, and remember, we made friends with Qatar. Remember how everyone got pissed off at Qatar or Qatar or whatever, how they made a deal with us or hooking us up with a plane. We're using one of their bases. There's actually, I think they're the ones that are actually training on a military base here in the United States. They don't actually have a section on it. That was a misstated story, but we've made some interesting friends with Qatar. They've got really nice stuff, and they got a lot of money, and they're spending it with us. And so I think they're allowing us to do a lot. And I don't think Iran's going to attack them because that would create a larger problem for Iran. So the deep state is in a very tough place right now. It's not just whether we can attack them or not attack them. It's what happens as far as containing the potentiality for a giant war. Well, that's not what we don't want. They're talking about this Gaza plan and, whether there's a plan B or any of that nonsense. There's Marco Rubio talking about plan B.
Now the focus is on this one. We have to get this right. There is no plan B for Gaza. Plan B is going back to war. No one here wants that. Plan A, the only path forward, is one that rebuilds Gaza in a way of enduring and sustainable peace, where everyone can live there side by side with one another and never worry again about returning to conflict, to war, to human suffering, and to destruction. And again, Mr. President, thank you for having the vision and the courage to pursue something that has never been done before. And we're not done yet. And
Yeah. Oh, there was some funny stuff, too. Trump, there was one speech where he was talking about how he was like, I almost fired Rubio. And don't do it again. He was kind of joking with him, like, you did so good. People are like, why can't Trump do that? It's pretty sweet. Trump is loving Marco Rubio, and I think Marco Rubio's loving the difference he's making in this world right now. Now, Khanna, he's one of the Democrats, and Massey, he's a total communist. They're going to try to plan to force a war powers vote in Iran. They want to take any ability for Trump to do anything in Iran away from him. The commander-in-chief. To defend our nation, Thomas Massey and a Democrat from California, Ro Khanna, want to force the ability to not go to war or to not have a strike, which this isn't even going to be a war. And people know that. Trump's already proven. His track record's pretty sweet. Thomas Massey's track record sucks balls, like what he does on a regular basis. I think he recently got married to a somewhat hottie, but needless to say, he's a pile of trash. And Ro Khanna, I don't know anything about. It's my place, but I don't care. Yeah, that's what I figured. He affiliated that kind of... Yeah. Wasn't it the second Indiana Jones movie? I feel like he was the dude that was like that, doing the little chant. Chuck Tule, or whatever, before he burned the person and reeled her down into the fire. Anyway, I felt like it was that guy. I don't remember his... Rumalam, Gumalam. I don't remember what he was friggin' saying, but it was funny as hell. Anyway, forever ago. The U.S. State Department is developing an online portal for our European friends. Have no fear. We're going to try to help. It's going to enable people in Europe and elsewhere to access content banned by their governments, including, quote, hate speech and terrorist propaganda, end quote. The site's going to be hosted at freedom.gov. I'm going to assume all you got to do is essentially say, hey, this link was taken down, and we'll probably put it up for you, and you'll be able to watch it here. Oh, can you imagine? Oh, that's really cool. That's super cool. You guys got to check this out. That's badass. That is someone's got some friggin' kick-ass. They got some kick-ass skills. Look at that. That is badass. I could do that all day. Whoa, 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 whoa. Like a good set of boobies. Anyways. Yes. Freedom.gov. You guys should remember that. Hopefully you know what that word means. It might not translate in all languages because some, like French. No, you guys are into freedom, kind of. Whatever. Douchies. Les douchies. This is also an interesting tie-in to the deep state. They hate Musk already because he was one that was supposed to be with them. He wore that Baphomet killer attacker or whatever. I think that costume was significant in that I think it was his announcement to the deep state, I am now your enemy. And they began to attack him, and he began to defend. Now, we've come a long way since that time. He's obviously taken over X, or Twitter at the time, and become X. It's funny, as I was having to link that on my bonfire, by the way. I have merch finally, guys. By the way, I haven't updated the link yet. I'll get that. I'll talk about it more. It's in the description if you want to go digging for it. And I did do a post on X yesterday of the store. And it'll get better. I just got some basic stuff because I just want some basic stuff. I wanted to get some shirts for myself. So, needless to say, I ordered some stuff. And I got hats. Got some cool stuff. It's pretty cool. Anyway, it's in the description. It's on Bonfire. I finally own it. You're helping me and the channel now. Instead of like I was always helping other people. And I still got their links. I'll put their links in. I think eventually I'll get free stuff back in there. I don't know what's happened with hers and where she's at, whatever. Who knows? Nobody knows. But the lady that does the Dan I'd Rather shirts, I've still got her link down there, and I'm right there with her. She did great work. She drew the picture. I love promoting it. I actually own a bunch of them. So, yeah, you guys should check those out. The Dan I'd Rather shirts are pretty cool. And kudos to Dr. Z on that because I think it was his idea. So, big, kudos to a lot of people. A lot of people helped on that one. It was pretty cool. Saudi, they backed an artificial intelligence company called Humane, and they've invested $3 billion into Elon Musk's AI, XAI, which he just tied with Space Force, by the way. SpaceX, yeah, Space Force, or SpaceX, sorry. What is his? Whatever the hell his space stuff is. He's got to tie it in with them. This is an enormous deal. And this is who you really want, probably, I guess. And that's what I think it kind of comes down to. If you're going to have somebody that's sort of at the helm and controlling the AI in this case, or the algorithm for Twitter, I mean, who do you trust? Like, Trump can't do everything. Musk seems to be somebody we like. So is he going to probably have a bigger stake in the XI share? XAI? It probably should be that way, right? Again, we'll see, but we're going to go into some crazy times. Airbus shares hit a turbulent dismissal. Their shares went down. I'm just happy to bring this up because, again, love Boeing. They always get the bad side of the stick, if you will. Well, Airbus is having a hard time. They're having a hard time getting engines, so their deliveries was far short. They're Pratt & Whitney, another British company. They're not delivering. So Pratt & Whitney is who's being blamed, so I'm sure Pratt & Whitney's shares went down. They actually make a good engine, I'm going to be totally honest. I think, in fact, if I remember correctly, I believe Trump has Pratt & Whitney's on his original Trump Force One. I believe his engines were Pratt & Whitney. They're really good engines. Extremely good, in fact. So maybe Pratt & Whitney's busy making stuff for us. And they didn't manage to help Airbus and their stupid planes. They're like, we're actually building some cool shit for other people, and we've had to pull workforce from your stupid thing. So, yeah, we didn't quite get all your stupid planes delivered to you or your engines because you guys are big, giant suckers. Chinese EVs are going to be flooding Europe as well. This is going to destroy any EV market at all in Europe. This is going to be funny. Canada's going to do this. None of this crap's going to be able to be sold here in the United States. They've already said that, and there's no way they're going to do it. There's a lot of reasons why they're trying to bring them here, and they're going to destroy any EV market that existed in any country that allows them to sell there, which is what's going to happen because these people are all controlled by China. We're not. Russia's not either. I don't know if they're taking a bunch of them. They're cheap cars, but they're also going to be a big, giant drain on the electrical system. Tucker Carlson apparently was detained in Israel. A journalist dragged him into an interrogation room as explosive interviews sparks diplomatic firestorms. I mean, he talked with Mike Huckabee, the representative that we've got going down there. So supposedly he got chatted with. They were detained, he says, as they went out there. If the headline is suggested, journalist dragged into... Oh, he's a journalist. Okay. I thought journalist dragged him. I misread that. So, yeah, whatever. Again, I'm not right now, there's some people I'm wondering about. And anyway, this is strange, but I also, at the same time, gets him all sorts of publicity. And he's all tied into the whole Israel thing and anti-Israel thing and Candace Owens. And I don't know. He's just weirdly tied into some of that stuff in a strange way. U.S. General reveals makeup of Gaza peacekeeping force. Oh, yeah, it's going to be Indonesia, Morocco, Kazakhstan, Kosovo, and Albania. Interesting, right? Nobody's. I don't mean that in disrespect to anybody who's from those places. I don't mean it like that. But, like, it's not the U.S., not France, it's not NATO. It's not that, right? I mean, I don't think any of these people are from NATO. Kind of interesting. Like, all right, that's kind of cool. People that are about as neutral as I guess we get hope. Whatever. I mean, I'm sure ultimately we'd be like, no, we don't care what you say. But yeah, if they try to do stupid stuff. But I think ultimately they might work as a good peacekeeping force. U.S. pulling all forces from Syria. All forces from Syria. I guess we're handing the country back over to them. We seem happy. I've seen this spun a lot of different directions. I think the actions are what matter. And if we're pulling out, it must be okay to do so. Again, there's going to be a lot of crazy story. Al-Qaeda's going to take over. I don't know. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're happy with where the Syrian government is at the moment. And so we have bugged out a little bit. I also think some of this might be because of the Iran stuff. Not wanting, maybe we needed to. Maybe Syria's like, you guys kind of got to go. And we're like, yeah, we got it. We got you. We don't want to be a part of, the Iran hatred. So there's deals being made. Nothing's simple, but we're moving in the right directions. Trump did make a comment about whether or not Iran is going to be finding out what's up. And he's saying the next 10 days. Now, anytime he's given a deadline, I think this was yesterday when he gave the speech, I think. But whenever he gives a deadline, it's like the deadline is on that day and could possibly be just a hair before or just a hair after, but like the second he said it, it's probably literally the second that 10 days is up, and it's literally like the first second of the 11th day, that might be when the bomb hits. That's how Trump rolls. Like, you should have made a deal with me. This didn't stretch out past that. No, I told you 10 days, and there you go.
Qatar, countries, nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. You couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days. But this meeting today is proof with determined leadership, nothing is impossible.
Nothing is impossible. Like I've said before, that pisses me off if people say, it's impossible. Nothing is impossible. Maybe in some people's narrow minds, but that's a narrow mind. Beijing is pissed off at us for releasing the details about the nuclear test they did. They're like, this is just fucked up, man. This was in the past, man. You weren't supposed to know about that. Anyway, we're like, yeah, well, we knew about it, and we just didn't say anything because that was Biden. Now it's me, and I'm totally saying something, and you shouldn't have done that. And you do any more stuff like that, we'll see it. The START treaty is all about getting China on board. This is why this information is coming out. Best I can give you guys. They're trying to put some pressure on China. Like, you need to get on the START program with the three of us. Russia, us, and you. We'll all sign this agreement together. Otherwise, fuck you. We're not doing it. You want to build up your forces? All right, we'll build up our forces, man. We'll match you to match you, and we'll make stuff that you didn't even realize. We'll make stuff that'll make your curlies straight. China's second Lunar New Year firework explosion kills another 12 people. Very sad. Especially if the numbers are true that people are suggesting that maybe China's down around 500 million instead of anywhere near the numbers that we all believed. I've been seeing a lot of stuff to suggest that, so 12 more are gone. Shit. Oh, whoops. Trans ice rink shooter Robert Dorgan. He was cousins, apparently, with his ex-wife. So just in case there was any reason to think this isn't strange at all. So, I don't know. This poor kid's probably got like a vagina or something because he's, or a finger above his wiener, maybe, or something. Which, actually, that could be pretty cool if you think about it. Anyway, well, that'll get me. I'm probably already going to get in trouble with X. X is probably already going to put a fucking thing over my video now. This guy's perverted. He's dirty. The dude's a sicko, and apparently his cousin, and then he somehow became a cross-dresser. I've said before, she looks like she's borderline manly. Nothing happening. Nothing good coming out of that whole situation. All right, enough of that nonsense. Zuckerberg, wow, he's got almost that Starmer's look on his face. It's kind of funny. Zuckerberg testifies in a social media addiction trial. This is it's not addictive. It totally is. Their internal documentation shows it. And the way it's addictive, and it's actually addictive to even adults, but it's worse for kids because their brains are being wired at that time. So it fucks up their brains really, really bad. It's really hard to unwire them once they get wired at that age. It's much easier for us when we get wired wrong to kind of break the habits than it is for kids. Kids, man, once it's hardwired, ooh, man, it's tough. Very tough. But long story short, it's the whole idea that I do something, how many likes did I get? And if I got 2 likes yesterday, everyone talks about that, right? That's the big thing that everybody's like, oh, I only have 5 people. Dan, it's not like you. It's the same thing, right? So you start 5 people. You got 5 people, and you put something out, and one of them likes it. You're like, fudge, that's cool. Or 5, because maybe you know all of them. And then maybe eventually you end up with an extra person somehow. And you're like, hey, look at that. There's 10 people. What? And I got 7 likes. Wow. Or you'll notice if I do certain things, I get more likes. And if I do other things, I get less likes. It wires you to go for likes. The dopamine hit, part of it, that's how it triggers the reward. It's the Pavlov's dog, man. That's how it rewards the experience in the brain. And the lizard brain's like, all right, oh, cool. I did a good job. When in the reality, it's just programming you. This is, what is, they always talk about the programming when it involves trauma, like traumatic programming. I forget the proper name for it. But this is essentially the same wiring that they're doing with social media. It's the same wiring. It's that same part of the brain. They just don't have to fracture you. That fracturing actually happens within the apps themselves. Because the people, the groups, when they attack, it's the same thing that happens to anyone who's a content creator. You experience it every once in a while. When you piss off the group, one will attack and then others will attack with. We see it in all the mobs. It's the mob rules mentality. It's that mob mentality. It's the people effect. It's the sheeple effect. It's why it's very difficult sometimes to have relationships with certain people within the audience, because these things can happen. You piss them off and then boom, there you go. Here you are. Now you're you're being attacked by someone that was once your friend. The wiring is significant. It's happening to everybody. I don't know. This is one of the places where I kind of feel like we've taken many steps backwards trying to deal with this because it's been tough. I don't know. I think a lot of these people are being used to attack. So this is the group I worry most about. And this is where we are. So be mindful if you've got kids that are on this stuff. It's your fault as a parent. Don't try to blame someone else. Don't try to put it on somebody else. They should be able to block. They should stop it. No, you need to. If you expect someone else to watch out for your kids are being taken from you already. Take ownership of your kids. Be there for your kids. Help them, because things are not, and that's not necessarily for some of you guys getting all into the crazy sauce either, too. Don't go running down the A-chrome stuff all of a sudden. Frick, man. Common grounded. People are nuts right now. Both sides, man. I got one friend, I swear to God, doesn't believe in viruses now. He believes the Earth's flat, which, again, whatever, wherever you guys are, and it's like everything is just like, wow. Okay, like, man, I've looked at stuff under microscopes. Like, I've looked at stuff in the sky. There's just certain people that are like, yep, that's not real. It's like, I've seen it. You're telling me what I've experienced is not real? Nah, whatever. It's weird. Again, like, if you got proof or something, go with it. But otherwise, one of the things I hate the most, and I'm done with my rant, so-and-so said. I don't care what so-and-so said. What do you think? That's what matters. That's what I need. I need you to think about it. So-and-so said something. Well, tell me what you think about it. I don't care what so-and-so said. I'm not going to watch so-and-so's video so I can get whatever you're trying to share with me. Share with me what you want to share with me. Save me the 45 minutes, please. Folks, this is all of us. Think for yourself. Stop being thought for. I love you guys. Do the homework, please. Pretty please, if you haven't already. Where we go one, we go all. This is where that part really means something. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.